This is the moment the world has been waiting for.
The judges are ready. The fighters are ready. The boxing world is ready.
The fight starts now!
Let's go.
How do you like it? On the show.
So aggressive, so focused.
It all comes down to this.
With a corner knockdown.
Still the undisputed champion of the world. DAZN Weekend Preview.
Welcome to the DAZN Cinco De Mayo weekend show presented by Corona Premier Barack. What a night, star-studded event. I mean, it was fit for Times Square. They came out. I think it was a success, if you ask me.
100%. I don't drink. I've never had a hangover, but right now I have a boxing hangover. That was an incredible event. There's something about New York, though. New Yorkers, they can't see a thing because it was barricade, because if it wasn't, it would be no movement in all of Manhattan. As soon as the camera comes out, they're going crazy. They just want to see the stars come in the vehicles. It was an amazing event.
Even the ones that were outside of the barricade, they were hanging on light posts.
Right.
They were climbing gates. You know how New Yorkers are. Nothing's going to
100%.
stop them from seeing anything.
Not at all.
But people were out. The fighters came out from everywhere. People that might have had no connection or potential fight with an opponent on the card, but they were still there, Barack. I mean,
One of my favorites, the hands of stone. How do you say that in Spanish? Please say it properly.
Manos de Piedra Duran, the greatest lightweight of all time.
Roberto Duran. And everybody respects him.
Conor Ben, I mean, coming off a massive competitive showdown against Chris Eubank Jr. He's calling Ryan Garcia out. He says he wants his lick back with Chris Eubank. I mean, he looked like he wasn't even touched.
He has no scars on his face. Beautiful. And look at this. The guy look at his face. He's angry. He's sitting there angry. He's like, yeah, this is nice, but it ain't for me. I don't like the press I'm getting. I'll fight at 135, 134, whatever. Shakur Stevenson, he was in the building.
Berlanga, New York's own, Puerto Rico's own, always shining. So I don't know how much diamonds on that chain right there, but he was shining.
Absolutely. And Clarissa sporting her new boyfriend. You know what I'm saying?
like it's an accessory?
Well, I guess so, but you know, shout out to them.
And that's just to name a few. But believe me, everybody was in the building. Mike Tyson was on the broadcast, Barack.
There is no applause like a Mike Tyson applause.
Turkey Island Sheik brings them out, it's safe to say, in Ring Magazine.
100%. But what it is that it's bigger than, even though we had a star-studded cast of fighters as well, it was bigger than that. It was something being done that no one in the world has ever thought of. And we probably thought, because I was one of the people who said, how can they do that? Right. And they did it, and they did it well. They blocked it off. It was just amazing. There was probably thousands of people just standing there all night who could not see the fighters.
Yeah, something that might never be done before. So we were all part of a historic event, but everybody was there for one reason, to see the return of Ryan Garcia against Rolly Romero Barack. I always say, and I hate, as cliche as this is, I hate saying it again, the theater of the unexpected. You can never guarantee anything in boxing, and we all saw Rolly knock Ryan down with that double left hook. I would say it wasn't a flash knockdown, but he recovered pretty quickly.
No, actually, it was a flash knockdown. It wasn't really a flash knockdown. This is what I think it was. The first shot just rocked him. The second shot was completely blocked, but he was already off balance, and the force, because Rolly is so strong, put him down. So he was not hurt at all. That's why he got back up in that same round and walked Rolly down. Wasn't that effective, but he was walking him down.
And to that point, before the knockdown, Ryan looked very confident and was walking Rolly down. I mean, he walked Rolly down even throughout the fight at times with the jab. His jab was so effective, it seems like he didn't want to follow up after the jab when obviously the jab opens up things, right?
Right.
But he was a bit hesitant after the knockdown, in my opinion, for the rest of that fight.
I don't know if that was hesitance or if that was trying to set up the shot but didn't see the openings. I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit of hesitant, but then again, are you hesitant if you're the one walking him down?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? If Ryan is the one walking you down, he's not necessarily hesitant, but he has to see the shot. I think he didn't just pick the right punches to set it up. He didn't set up the hook that he wanted, and he didn't utilize other punches.
You can still hesitate in throwing punches, not necessarily in the way you move out around the ring with your
That's
feet.
true.
Hesitant in as far as pulling the trigger, as we say, in the pocket when you have to exchange or counter. Because one thing, if you look at this punch stats number, both guys landed relatively the same. It wasn't, similar punches thrown because Ryan was landing the jab throughout the entire fight at will. But Rolly was pressing the issue when it came to throwing combinations and kind of trying to hurt Ryan.
And that's how he would win those rounds, because the fight was pretty close going throughout. Even with the knockdown, the fight was pretty close. But Rolly would have those moments of combinations and win the round. And in spurts, Ryan would abandon the jab.
Right.
When the jab was landing, and he just didn't mix it up enough. He didn't use his right hand enough, didn't throw enough body shots. No excuses, though. I respect that. I respect that. No excuses.
He said it was confusing to me, him not throwing more of those jabs. But look, we have to address the elephant in the room. Everybody was there because they're looking forward to the October fight between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Look, Devin had a reaction. It seems like he wasn't too thrilled of Ryan's performance, just the way the fight played out. Even I think before the decision was announced,
right.
Devin wasn't happy because guess what? These guys were supposed to fight a mega fight in October.
Right.
So he was nodding his head.
No.
It's not like he
shaking his head, and laughing. And you know what? People are saying that he has no right to do that, but he does. You know why? Because the end of the day, they had a fight that they both signed for,
and he won.
He did his. Thank you for finishing my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
He did his end of the bargain. He kept his end of the bargain, and Ryan could not. So he has every right to do that. But does that mean that they can't still meet?
No, I disagree. I don't think he has the right to do it in the manner that he did it in because
shaking his head and laughing.
No, laughing. No, I mean he could.
Why?
He could be disappointed because
that's his nemesis.
He didn't have a stellar performance.
So what? He won.
No,
you don't have to have a stellar performance.
Yes, you do. On under the bright lights.
No,
in
you
Times
don't.
Square,
you have to win.
If you're trying to make a statement, if you're trying to make a statement that the last time I fought Ryan Garcia, okay, he was on PEDs. If it was clean, the fight would have ended different. Let me show you how great I am after my year layoff.
Wrong.
Hold up. After my year fighting a guy like Ramirez. And I like Ryan Garcia. I like Devin Haney. But the problem is that you can't be that arrogant in Ryan losing a close decision if you didn't look spectacular. That's my opinion.
You sound crazy because, first of all, this is a fight. You understand that? And all the man did, Keyshawn was yelling, you suck or whatever all night. And all Devin Haney did was shake his head and laugh. And I didn't interrupt your stupid monologue. Okay. Now check this out. He won his fight. He won his fight very convincingly. It just wasn't nice. He didn't have to prove anything. Ryan had to prove. If Ryan failed the drug test, then people are looking for him to prove that he doesn't need anything. Obviously, he said it was in his system, but he didn't take it purposely. So he has something to prove, not Devin.
Oh, so Devin
just, wait a second. Every fighter wants to perform great. But Devin, all he had to do was win because I want to fight you. I want to rematch you. All he had to do was win. He did it.
Fine.
He has every right to go.
Okay, fine. I still disagree with you.
When Oscar De La Hoya beat Felix Sturm, even though he really lost, he fulfilled his end of the bargain. Okay. He got to the Bernard Hopkins fight.
Let me add one small detail. It's close to the least amount of punches thrown in an entire prize fight in 12 rounds.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's all I want to know.
What does that have to do with anything?
So he won the fight, but not by throwing too many punches. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
He won convincingly almost every round.
Yeah.
He won every round.
I agree with you.
So what are you saying?
But
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a landslide knockout or anything like that.
We were anticipating something else. He did win. He did win most of the rounds, if not every round. And he landed some shots. But I feel like Devin is more talented than he showed.
All of that is true. Devin is more talented than this.
He didn't throw a 3-punch combination. The entire night was either the jab or a 2-punch combination. Jab the hook or 1-2.
And you know who else used to do that? Floyd Mayweather Jr. And he used to win.
At what age? In his 30s, not when he was in his 20s.
So what are you mad at? You mad at the man? You mad at the man for that? What are you yelling at because he didn't perform like you wanted him to? Sometimes, listen, the guy came off a fight where he was knocked down 3 times. You don't know how a fighter feels after that. Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, but he said he took a lot of damage and he wanted to retire because you don't know what kind of damage he took to his brain. When Timothy Bradley beat Provodnikov, he won, but he said, man, he had a concussion for 6 months. He was forgetting things. It was crazy. We don't know what he went through. So you know what he did? He said, I'm going to tighten up. I'm going to fix my mistakes. And my mistakes were I was getting hit. Okay. He decided to come in and not get hit. And that's what he did. It don't make us happy.
All right, you want me to sit back?
At least he won.
How long is your monologue?
All right, till I finish.
So you just admitted that he was in that fight worrying about being hit, thinking about the Ryan Garcia fight.
Saying that's a possibility.
So it was obvious, so it was clear that he was beyond hesitant and not wanting to engage and moving, using his feet right away. Now,
But I agree with that. See, the argument started when
that affects your performance.
No. Listen, the argument started when you said he has no right to go.
No, laugh.
That's it. He has every right to do that because he dominated his opponent, and it wasn't a great fight, but he won his fight.
Did Bill call you last night?
If your son is fighting,
Bill call you last night?
if your son is fighting, and your son dominated every round.
We got a show to do.
Are you going to be happy? Are you going to be happy? Yes or no?
No.
You're lying.
Not with that performance. Not after everything that I talked about.
Your son's mother's right there. Make sure you tell your son that. Your son's mother's right there. Make sure you tell your son that he wouldn't be happy.
Hey, we're doing a boxing show here. If you haven't, so let's talk about Teofimo Lopez, 140-pounder who was the most accomplished on the card, undisputed. I mean, arguably in 2 divisions. He came in there, I like his NYPD bulletproof jacket. He was fighting, in my opinion, the toughest test of the night in Barbosa. A guy that has been calling him out for years. He was elusive in the fight. He landed body shots, head shots, great head movement, and also, I mean, Tio's always had good foot movement. Barbosa never stopped trying, and he did land shots, but after midway through that fight, it was obvious who was in control of the pace, of the tempo, of when to engage.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say from the beginning. From the beginning, Tio actually was dominating. That's it. I gave Barbosa 1 round. Some people say 2. I gave him 1 round. He was game. He forced the action a lot of the times, but Tio was just too fast. He was too elusive. And that twitchy speed that he has, it's just amazing. It's just so amazing. Now, he was the guy that brought the energy to the press conference, and that night, even though after the fight people were saying, oh, it wasn't as spectacular as we wanted, we realized he brought the energy that night too in the ring.
After watching the next 2 fights. And look, I say Teofimo he's an exciting guy outside the ring, but he's the one that people were watching last night. When I was looking on Twitter and social media, people were saying, yo, I can't wait to see what Tio does, what Teofimo does, because he talked all that smack, he brought the energy into the weigh-in, and honestly, in hindsight, it was the most exciting fight of the night, no question about it.
It was, but I think this is the problem. The problem is that people seen Tio do some spectacular knockouts, but he's not necessarily a knockout puncher. He's not. He's very elusive, he's very fast, he's very explosive, but he doesn't have some 95% or 90 or 80 or even 70% knockout ratio. But he can outbox you. He can outbox you and he can land power shots, and that's what he did.
And now let's get into what's next for all of these fighters. You know, honestly, I agree with you. Both guys, as far as the main event, were supposed to win to meet in October. But even if Ryan had squeezed that decision out of here, would people have been just as excited to see them fight in October? I mean, think about the performances.
Because styles make fights.
Right.
Ryan is not going to fight. Well, I don't know why Ryan fought that way against Rolly, no matter what. Maybe it'll come out one day, or maybe it is what it is. That was Rolly's fault because he has power. But Ryan is not going to fight Devin the same way he fought Rolly, and that's it.
Probably not. And I do want to touch on what I saw on social media as well. People are saying that Ryan didn't care about losing. He was so lackadaisical. No, he gave his opponent credit for the win with no excuses. But if you know behind closed doors, Ryan was very hurt from that loss. He was very disappointed.
His footage showing him crying in the vehicle right after.
Exactly. That was also on social media. So this man has pride. He didn't want to win that fight. He wanted the rematch against Devin Haney to avenge the controversy at least, and he took the L. Ryan is young, Ryan is talented, Ryan is an athlete, I feel that he will be back strong. As far as who he should face, that's a great question.
I mean, understand that he keeps saying that he came back from a lot. What it was the failed drug test, because he feels like he did not cheat. So if he didn't purposely put anything in his body, then that's what he was suffering from mentally all of this time. Yeah. You know, and he came back from that. So obviously, in order to prove that wrong, is to go back into that fight with the same guy and win again. So he doesn't get to do that possibly, so that's weighing on his heart.
After sleeping on it, I said to myself, if Ryan Garcia fights Devin Haney, even after this loss against Rolly, I still think it can happen, right? Because obviously contractually they can fix that issue. But I also thought about maybe Rolly fighting Devin Haney, right? I mean, they have bad blood. He's very disrespectful to Devin Haney. Why not maybe match that up, let Ryan have an interim fight in between, and maybe at the end of the year or top of 26, let them go at it?
I like that. I mean, Rolly has said that he's Devin's father. He said the worst of the worst. And if those two guys won, maybe that's going to be the pivot. They're going to pivot to that, possibly. But I feel like Ryan's star power, he can probably still get the fight. But if you're Devin Haney, you also have the right to say, you didn't win your fight. I'm not fighting you now. I'm going to fight so-and-so. The same way when Deontay Wilder said, no, I got Fury now. Right. I don't need to fight you, Joshua, anymore.
But in Devin's defense, now I'm going to bat for Devin. He doesn't care about none of that. He wants his lick back against Ryan Garcia.
I hope so.
So he's not going to turn that fight down if it presents itself. But let me throw another curveball at you. Teofimo Lopez at 140 or at a catch weight against Devin Haney.
Right.
Or maybe Teo is kind of friends with Rolly. Maybe Rolly and Teo could go at it. So many matches going to happen, even though things didn't turn out as we expected. So many matchups can happen from that card, from on that card.
Right. See, that's the thing. We got 3 winners. And the problem is that even though Teo showed a lot of humility, because he said, hey, I'm just here to start it up. It was almost like the takeover took over. Almost. Wasn't crazy, wasn't a knockout, but it was the only entertaining fight, so to speak. The most entertaining fight.
Right.
By the way.
Because at first when it was over, it wasn't explosive.
Maybe he woke up this morning saying, people should be talking more about me than Devin Haney, or people should be talking more about me than Ryan Garcia right now. Maybe he's saying that. And maybe the next fight is Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, since Teofimo might be a bigger star than Rolly.
I'll tell you a few things that some fight fans were talking about. Sasumi, this guy is a decorated amateur, and he was fighting on a big stage. Let's not ignore the fact that he was in Times Square in a different country, in a historic event that's never been done before. A lot of pressure for a young guy making his pro debut, Barack, and he didn't disappoint.
Well, I can't say he didn't disappoint. He did very well, but I think that people don't understand, because even the commentators were saying, you know, shout out to Jim Lampley, the legend,
yes,
and Antonio Tarver. Even the commentators and Mike Carpenter were saying that he seemed to have been touched harder than expected, because we're used to the culture of when you come into the game as a pro debut, you get a soft touch. And you not only that soft touch, but you get a lot of soft touches, you know, to build up that record. But Turki Alashek has come into this, and he's putting you in there with tough guys from the beginning, because this guy might have been 1-2-1, but I know boxers that know him, and they know he can fight.
So that's why it's not a disappointment to me, and this is why why I said he wasn't fighting a soft touch. Had it been a soft touch and he would have looked the way he did, then I would have said that. He fought a live dog in there that has skill. We talked about it in the lead up to that fight.
Fans have to know that.
Right, it's all right. But you know what?
We have to change the culture in boxing. They have to understand that these guys are going to get matched up better now.
You know what's good about that? Down the line, that guy has already been tested early, so that's going to serve him well later on in his career. And let's get into the battle of the badges. I mean, come on, Barack. We talked about it all week, and we were excited that they were giving NYPD, the fire department, an opportunity to be on such a big stage to fight each other. I picked NYPD at the weigh-ins and at the press conference. I gave my picks. You picked the winner.
You were wrong, as usual. I'm always right. And this is the thing.
That's a lie.
Obviously, we're joking about, you know, who we picked or whatever, but I picked FDNY, and I saw that when he came out of that ambulance, that he looked a little bit more relaxed. You know, he looked a little bit more relaxed, and if you think about it, he has a little bit more pro experience. Now, Allen had more amateur experience, but he fought a pro recently with a lot of experience, and I think that's what gave him the edge.
Yeah, well, either way, both departments got to shine, and there were a lot of police officers and firemen in the building watching that fight. So everybody was happy. I mean, there were people who had their, they said what they had to say about the fights throughout the fight, the Ryan Garcia fight, but we had an upset, right? We talked about, will there be an upset all week? Will there be an upset? Right. People couldn't pick which fight was going to be the upset.
Well, I picked it, actually.
Turns out to be the main event.
Yeah, I picked it, because I felt like the other fights, when you talk about Barboza and you talk about Ramirez, I felt like their styles worked well for their opponents. Not that it couldn't happen, because they're great fighters, but I thought their styles worked better for their opponents, being Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. But when you talk about punchers can always spoil the show, and that's what Rolly did. Now, he also boxed his way to a victory, but it was that punch that maybe slowed down the whole fight. And that's why I said if there was any potential of being an upset, just like Ryan said, if Rolly catch me, I can go down.
Yeah, and he went down. It was an exciting moment. I mean, the entire night was exciting. Yesterday, we had fun at Bubba Gump, Times Square.
Oh, man.
For the preview show, Barack, the fans were so excited just to be a part, just to be in Times Square.
Yes.
They weren't necessarily ringside,
yes,
but they could, the ring was about 67 feet away, and they were in Times Square. Everybody was excited to be there. They had a lot of shrimp, too, yesterday.
Let me just tell you that I didn't pick up my credential for the fight, and I stayed at Bubba Gump's, but that's only because I didn't realize I had a credential for the fight. But I had a ball in Bubba Gump's. They fed us till our stomachs busted.
Seriously.
And the atmosphere was great. It got super hot where they had to go get fans because there was so many people there. There was fans, so they had to get fans for the fans because it was hot as hell.
Well, that's why I started to stink in there. It was you.
That was your feet, because you had your shoes off for some reason. But anyway, we had about 20 TVs in there. It was amazing atmosphere. Everybody was drinking. Everybody was having a good time. I had water. And it's Times Square, buddy.
All right.
And, let me tell you something. The only time I've ever seen Times Square like that is on New Year's.
Okay.
Literally, it took maybe 10 minutes to walk one block.
No doubt
maybe
about it.
more than that.
So that's your review for what happened in Times Square. Let's get into the preview about what's happening later on in Saudi Arabia. Here's the fight card. Obviously, the face of boxing, Barack. We talk about it all the time. Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull. He's trying to become undisputed again at super middleweight. Baghdad Jack versus McCullough again. Also, Jaime Munguia, he probably wants his lick back with Canelo Alvarez, but he has to face Bruno Suras. Also, Martin McCauley versus Ajagba, the two Africans going at it, Barack.
I didn't like the way you said that, but go ahead.
Marco Verde versus Michael Polita, and Brian Leon versus Guerrero. Let's go. Let's take it over there to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to our guys over there.
We're in Riyadh in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as Canelo makes his debut in the Middle East. In fact, the first time he's ever fought outside of North America. My name's Todd Grisham, Sergio Mora, and Chris Mannix. Canelo will be taking on William Scull, a relative unknown, but he does have a belt, Chris, an IBF Super Middleweight Championship. If you're William Scull, how are you approaching this fight against the face of boxing?
Look, I think you have to make a decision if you're William Scull. You either have to come to the ring and try to survive, which I think, given his skill set, he is capable of doing. He is a decorated amateur, long amateur career in Cuba, 23-0, undefeated, coming off that win against Vladimir Shishkin. If you talk to members of his team, he had a fantastic training camp for this fight. So I think he has it in him to go the distance against Canelo Alvarez. But if you're going to try to win, you got to let your hands go. William Scull, in his last time out against Vladimir Shishkin, threw an average of 30 punches per round. That is not going to get it done against Canelo Alvarez. So I'm curious to see what approach he takes this fight. Is it an approach that makes you think he wants to win, or is it an approach that makes you believe he's going to survive?
I think he could do a little bit of both. I mean, he has enough skill. He has that Cuban background. I think he's picked up a little bit of the Argentinian style, the German style. Every country that he's trained with different boxers. If he can bring an element of every single trait that every other country had, I think he can confuse a little bit Canelo. But he has to get respect. I agree with you. He has to get that right hand landed early. Control the jab, control the range. Don't let Canelo get on the inside and explode on him. So the distance is what what he should be thinking and get out of the early rounds. Get out of the early rounds, and I think he's going to be just fine.
As for Canelo Alvarez, he loves fighting on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Usually it's in Las Vegas or another major city in North America. A lot of pomp and circumstance, a lot of energy fighting in prime time. But Sergio, this fight is going to be at 6 a.m. local time. Obviously the feel is going to be completely different. How do you expect Canelo to handle that?
You know, with a professional like Canelo that's been in 66 pro fights, he's been fighting around the world, I think he's going to be just fine. He knows how to evolve. He already acclimated. He's been here 3 weeks already. So I think he's just going to wake up in the morning, have a cafecito, get that cold plunge that he's been talking about. Me and Chris are going to be doing that later. And I think he's going to wake up. He's going to be just fine.
Not together, for the record. Not together. All right, just to be clear.
Well, okay. Yeah, I think he's going to be just fine because he's been here enough. I think, anywhere in the world, he knows how to fight. This man knows how to fight. He knows how to fight any style. He's already been with every style. So Canelo's going to be just fine.
Canelo has knocked down his last 5 opponents, but he doesn't have a knockout since Caleb Plant. You talked to him about it. How urgent do you think Canelo is going to approach this fight as far as trying to get Scull out of there?
I don't think there's much urgency. He's not going to take an unnecessary risk in a fight like this. We know what is potentially waiting for Canelo Alvarez later this year, a showdown against Terrence Crawford. I think Canelo, this fight is about being here in Riyadh, getting a win, becoming undisputed at super middleweight one more time, and keeping his career moving. So I think if the opportunity's there, he'll go for it. But if William Scull comes out in a defensive posture and doesn't give him those opportunities, I don't expect him to go out there winging punches to get a KO. All
right, guys, I've got to get an official prediction from you. What do you think is going to happen Sunday morning here in Riyadh?
I think Canelo goes the distance one more time. He makes it, the 6th time that he faces another opponent that lasts all the way to the finish line. So, yeah, I think Canelo's decision.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this. I'm going to go with Canelo with a late stoppage. Look, William Scull, his last fight was before the Vladimir Shishkin fight was an 8-round fight, and he's fought like these 6-round fights. I think we get to the later stage of the fight, some of that footwork, some of that technique is going to fade a little bit, give Canelo some opportunities, and gets a late stoppage.
Well, against Shishkin, he was fading late. He almost got stopped in final round there, so we'll see how Scull handles that pressure from Canelo. As for the co-main event, it's Badou Jack versus Noel Mikhailian. Both men, Chris, are claiming to be the WBC champion. Try and explain what the hell's going on here.
All right, everybody get out your pencils. It's time for a little lesson on the sanctioning bodies. 2023, Badou Jack beats Junior Makabu to become the WBC Cruiserweight champion. He elects to move up in weight, try to pursue a Bridgerweight title. Noel Mikhailian, he beats Junior Makabu months later to become the Cruiserweight champion. He winds up not defending that bout. Badou Jack says he wants to go back down to Cruiserweight. The WBC restores him as the Cruiserweight champion. As you saw this week, both these guys believe they are Cruiserweight champion. Badou Jack is officially the Cruiserweight title holder. Noel Mikhailian is the champion in recess. But somebody, we got to believe, barring a draw, is going to walk out here recognized as the WBC Cruiserweight champion.
So, Sergio, who's that person going to be? Mikhailian coming in red hot saying, man, I'm going to stop this guy. As for Badou Jack, he hasn't been in the ring in over 2 years, and he's 41 years old.
Yeah, I think whenever you start dealing with a man that's in his late 30s, early 40s and all that, inactivity kills. So I got to favor Mikhailian, but I'm a big Badou Jack fan. I really am. I've been following him from a long time, from the Olympics all the way to when he got to Vegas. This man knows how to fight. 3-division champion. Yes, he's 41 years old, but he lives a clean lifestyle. He knows how to fight on the inside. His losses have been very close. His wins have been very close. He knows how to make it a close, competitive fight. If that goes to the later rounds, I'm going to favor the man with the championship experience. That's Badou Jack.
I think the other variable, too, is that Mikhailian took this fight on short notice. He is a replacement opponent. Ryan Rosinski was scheduled to face Badou Jack. So Mikhailian wasn't necessarily preparing for this particular fight up until about a month ago. So we'll see what he has in the tank in the later rounds. I do think this is the fight that's going to go the distance.
As for Cinco de Mayo weekend, we've got Canelo obviously out of Mexico, and then we've got Jaime Munguia fighting here as well. Munguia suffered the upset of the year against Bruno Saras. The rematch happens, and Sergio, Bruno Saras can't stop smiling. His life has changed completely, and he believes, listen, why am I not the favorite? I've already beat him once in his hometown. I'm going to do it again.
The punch heard around the world, and that's the beauty of boxing. It just takes one shot to change your whole life. And look, this is what Bruno Saras has been training for his entire life. He's an undefeated fighter. He may not be a champion, but he carries himself like a champion. He has the swag of a champion, and now he just beat a former champion, someone that's never been knocked out. So whenever you have that on your resume, you knock out this unknockoutable Mexican, like you like to say, someone that's never been knocked out, that's a feather on your cap. He's gonna come, he's gonna be confident. I think he goes into the later rounds. That's when Munguia probably starts having success, and he's gonna have to show resilience. I'm gonna favor Munguia.
I think confidence is good, momentum is good, but Bruno Ross came into that Jaime Munguia fight 25-0 with just 4 knockouts on his resume. He did hit one picture-perfect shot. I think Jaime Munguia took him lightly that night. I think he underestimated him. That was a homecoming fight for Jaime Munguia in Tijuana, Mexico. He's got a new trainer now. He's obviously going to be focused and ready for this fight. I think you're going to see the best of Jaime Munguia, and I just believe the best of Munguia is better than the best of Bruno Ross.
The switch from Eric Morales to Eddie Reynoso for trainers for Jaime Munguia. Do you think we'll see any differences in Jaime Munguia's style? To me, he fights the same way no matter who it is. He's going to get hit a lot, but he's going to hit you even more.
You know what? Sometimes when you're switching trainers like that, you're going to be lost in the translation of the trainer that whatever he teaches. I personally don't like it. You stick with your day one all the way from the beginning to end. But since he is switching, this man's not going to become a defensive wizard all of a sudden. He is who he is. His offense is his defense. He may do it for 2 or 3 rounds, follow the game plan, but once he gets clipped, especially by a man that just knocked you out, all that goes out the window, and it's Mexican style all over again. Expect another physical fight.
And finally, we've got to talk about that all-Africa battle, the fight that just heated up yesterday at the press conference. These guys were going back and forth. Efe Ajagba versus Martin Bakole. It could be the fight of the night.
I think that's going to be the shortest fight of the night. I think that's going to be the heavyweight version of Teofimo Lopez and Barboza, or Ryan Garcia and Romero. I think it's going to be explosive right off the bat, but I'm going to favor Bakole here. I think he's a better inside fighter. I think he knows how to get on the inside, and once he does do that, he rips the body shots and uppercuts. I think that Jagba, he's dangerous from afar. That right hand, and if he keep you at the end of the jab, he lands that right hand, Bakole has issues. I don't think that's going to be the case.
On paper, I'd favor Martin Bakole. Ajagba, though, seems pretty motivated for this fight. And I know, Sergio, you have downplayed the quick turnaround, but the reality is Martin Bakole was here in Saudi Arabia 2.5 months ago getting knocked out. Very rarely do you see a fighter that got knocked out return to the ring 2.5 months later. So we're going to find out pretty quickly, I think, if that knockout has any lingering effects.
Efe Ajagba telling Martin Bakole yesterday, he said, you may be a big guy, but you got a small engine. I'm a smaller guy with a big engine. Can't wait to see Congo versus Nigeria, part of the Canelo Williams Scull card, live on DAZN from Riyadh.
Rock, I think we saw a big upset and guys that were looking forward to a fight ahead, which is the same situation Canelo Alvarez is facing right now, fighting an undefeated William Scull, because all we want to know is Crawford, Canelo happening in September. It's already set, to my understanding. So how does Canelo not make the same mistake? Ryan, I guess I don't want to compare the two. Obviously, Canelo knows what's ahead and he knows who he's facing. But does Scull have a shot to pull off the same upset we saw last night?
First of all, the fighters are not the ones making a mistake. It's us. Right. It's us. It's the promotion, that's looking forward before the fight that takes place. Canelo never makes that kind of mistake. Right. Canelo is always in camp. He's always in shape. And overlooking a fighter, like I always say, is not taking your fighter seriously in training. As we can see, he's used to fighting these guys that are way bigger than him. Scull is a very beefy, big guy. Canelo's very small. But this is his wheelhouse, fighting these kind of guys, and a Cuban, he doesn't like that though.
Great
he likes
footwork,
fighting bigger guys.
Like moving
he doesn't
around.
like movers.
He's also fighting in a country that he's never fought before. I mean, Canelo's been very vocal about wanting to travel the world and fight in different places in the beautiful city of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, which is becoming a hotbed for boxing, deservedly so, as Turki Al-Sheikh has done a lot for the sport. And I think that things like that excite Canelo Alvarez. He likes new things. He always tells us, I like challenges. I love a challenge. It brings me to the next level. Right. So the fact that he's fighting in a new country, I think that excites him. The fact that, maybe people are saying, hey, he doesn't like Cuban-style fighters, that might motivate him to actually make a bigger statement, because Canelo is a guy that if you talk smack, he remembers, he listens, and he likes to show you in the ring why you shouldn't have said what you said.
Yeah, I think he's in a position that he was in years ago when he fought Avni Yildirim. He had to. That was a mandatory. People were complaining, how is he the mandatory? Doesn't matter. He was a WBC, I believe, mandatory. And right now, the IBF was stripped from Canelo. He's really the undisputed at super middleweight. But he has to get it back. So this is just a fight he has to fight.
So there's a motivation in that because, hey, you guys stripped me from my strap. Now let me go fight for it again and win it back. He already
and because of that, you become two-time.
Right.
So that's the motivation.
Right. And also, look, speaking of IBF, when he won the IBF against Caleb Plant, that's the last time he scored a knockout, if I'm not mistaken. Sergio feels like this fight is also going to go to distance. Is that motivation for Canelo to prove people, oh, you guys don't think I can punch anymore, huh? It's been years since I scored a knockout. Guess what? Hold that.
And this is what I got to say against that. Canelo has the frame of a 154-pound fighter. He should not be knocking out 168-pound fighters. Jamel Charlo is not going to go up to 168, who Jamel Charlo was bigger than Canelo on the night, but he's not going to go up to 168 and beat Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, and a whole bunch of other peoples. You know, that's not happening. He's not beating Berlanga and all of these guys. Canelo is doing something that's special. He's a small guy with a small frame, no matter how big everybody acts like he is, and he's moving up. So to get knockouts is special. But also, people fight Canelo differently.
Yes.
He fought John Ryder, dropped him once, couldn't finish him. Munguia, who he also beat up, dropped him, knocks out John Ryder. You know why? Because Ryder fought him differently.
Right, but I'm saying people are forgetting the fact that he dropped those guys. So obviously he has enough power. He did Berlanga. He also did Charlo.
Everyone.
All of them went down. They all touched the canvas. So I don't know about that. He can't punch anymore because he's still one of the hardest punchers in all of boxing. And I disagree with Sergio Mora, my guy, because
the cold plunge? No, about him and Chris with the cold plunge?
No, not into that.
Oh, okay. I thought you was jealous or something.
But the fact that Canelo will score a knockout again later on against William Scull, I believe he has some motivation. He wants to impress the people in Riyadh and remind people, I am the face of boxing, and it's for a reason. So I feel Canelo wins big.
And that's why I brought up the point that people fight Canelo differently. That's all I'm saying. So if John Ryder, who got stopped in the 9th round by Munguia, fought Canelo more cautiously, the same way Jamel Charlo fought him, then it's possible that Scull would get on his bike the whole fight. Now, I've seen Scull hurt before. Obviously, Canelo can hurt him.
Okay.
But he might fight well enough to not get hurt.
Well, let's, we talked about how great Canelo is, but let's tap into your inner trainer, Barack, all right? Well, if you're behind Scull and you say, we have to pull a major upset, how do we do it against Canelo?
Lateral movement, jabs, feinting, jabs, and lateral movement. Get the same way we saw Devin Haney last night. Just moving and jabbing. 1, 2, boom, you're pot shotting. That's it. Hardly throwing combinations. Don't let Canelo set. That's what I would tell him.
I like that advice. Look, and let's mention that he is very big. I know Canelo is used to fighting big fighters, but Barack, this guy's in shape. I mean, He's a comfortable 168-pounder. Probably going into that fight close to
He's not going to fight Canelo like that. No, you're right. You're right, though.
Going into as a
way bigger than Canelo. But he's not going to fight Canelo like that, punching in between shots.
I mean, he's bigger than Caleb Plant. He's bigger than a lot of guys Canelo has faced. Yeah. So maybe that size might play a part. Maybe his corner will advise him to use the size, lean on Canelo. But with those strong legs that Canelo have, I don't know if that works. I think if you get too close to Canelo, then you got the issue of getting hit with body shots, sneaky uppercuts that Canelo throws. Also those feints with the hooks upstairs. It's just a difficult fight for anybody. Canelo is one of the best fighters in the world for a reason, because he's faced so many different type of styles, so many sizes of fighters usually bigger than him. So it's always tough.
Bigger than him.
It's tough. So as good as Scull is, and credit to him and what he's done to put himself in position to get this big fight in Saudi Arabia, he has a style that Canelo has seen before.
Canelo's he's been the face of boxing for years. He has, 64, 66 fights, something like that? This guy's seen it all, like you said. But not just that, he's gotten way better. He's gotten better in the gym. And he's shown it. He's shown that his head movement, he doesn't even have to do many movements like he was doing maybe a few years ago to get to you. And he's just a dangerous fighter. He punches harder than probably maybe even harder than Benavidez. Because Benavidez doesn't necessarily knock you out with one punch. So he punches harder than probably every 168-pounder. So he's deadly no matter what.
I mean, as deadly as he was against Munguia, who's wanting to make a comeback, wanting to show the world that he's still one of the top dogs. He's fighting Suras. And look, potentially it can be a rematch, Mexico versus Mexico again with him and Canelo Alvarez, but he has to look impressive against Suras.
This right here is the fight. This right here is the fight. This is a dangerous fight. This is not going. That was the second round where Munguia rocked Suras, dropped him. I thought the fight was over. Suras came back, pushed the issue, showed. I guess sometimes you get hit and you know what? Oh, I could take that.
And the thing about rematches is, once you face the power and you've been able to get up and fight through it,
yes,
then you're going to go into that fight even more comfortable and risking more. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a better fight than the last one.
Right. I mean, he knocked Munguia out in the 9th round. Look at this shot. This was just a beautiful play shot. Canelo didn't do that, but he's fighting a real 168-pounder in Suras. So this right here is going to be one of those, you can't take your eyes off it. Two things can happen. Either they're going to have a whole lot of respect for each other, which I doubt, or this is what I think is going to happen. They're going to go at it.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to go at it. And this time I think Munguia knocked Suras out. I feel like...
Why do you say that?
I just feel that he was able to take a lot of the shots early in the fight, right? Before he got knocked out, he took some shots and kept coming. Yes, he was hurt at times, but he kept coming. But I felt that he was the better technical fighter, in my opinion, in that fight. Because I don't think they both traded a lot of shots, but I feel like Munguia is going to make the more of adjustments, and I think he wins big time.
That's what you're saying.
I think and he has more experience.
Okay, yes, he definitely way more fights. Definitely has a lot of experience, but that just doesn't mean he's going to win. That's one of those 50-50 now. And he just got knocked out, and I'm giving him 50-50. That's saying a lot. It's one of those fights where...
And I'm picking him to win. I thought you liked the underdog.
I just say it's 50-50. I don't know. Somebody's getting knocked out. Somebody's definitely getting knocked out in that fight, 100%.
Right. Let's get into some DraftKings sportsbook stuff, Barack. I mean, I know you don't like making predictions, but we're going to push you.
Let's go.
Let's talk about, if these fights go the distance or not, over under. Over under.
I'm ready.
How do they go? So I'm gonna lay it out for you, make it real simple, and then I'm gonna come back to you tomorrow. Let's see if you got them right, Barack.
Of course. We start with who? Bacoli?
Bacoli
and F.A. Ajagba. Over under what? What's the over under? How many rounds? Give me the
7.5. 7.5. Come on.
7.5. Under.
Jack McKillian.
What's the rounds?
I'm about to tell you. Take your time.
Over under what?
10.5 rounds.
It's going over. It's going over.
It's going over. You sure?
I think it's going over because Jack is probably okay. Yes, he knocked out Makabu.
Can I chime in really quickly?
You asked me a question, but answer it for me. Go ahead.
Because I disagree with you so wholeheartedly with Ajagba and Bacoli.
You're going back to that?
No, real quick. That ends in 4 rounds.
I said under.
Oh, you did say under.
I said under.
Okay. Oh, I agree.
Now this one, see, Suras, Bradis couldn't knock him out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I know Badu had an amazing performance last time with Makabu, but I think he has a chin. I think Suras has a chin. He's never been stopped before, even though he has 2 losses. Bradis couldn't stop him. I think it's going to go 12, and I think Badu's going to win. So I say over at that 10.5.
Right. So let's go Munguia, Suras. Over, under 8.5 rounds.
Under, obviously. Munguia got hurt in the 2nd, got knocked out in the 9th round.
So Suras wins.
They're going to condense that. They're going to condense that. What?
So Suras wins under 8.5 rounds?
Oh, is that what you're saying?
No.
The man that doesn't bet is confused.
No. I'm not saying a pick, but I'm saying you're saying it goes under. All right, fine.
Definitely under
let's
that.
talk
Definitely
about the main event.
Under that.
Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull. Over, under 9.5 rounds.
This morning I said over. And now I'm saying under. I think Canelo's going to get to him. I kind of think Canelo's going to get to him. I tell you, people do fight differently when they fight Canelo, but I think he's going to get to him.
I agree with you. I think Canelo wins within 6 rounds, so under.
Oh, when you say you jinx it, you're always wrong with the rounds.
I feel like
you might be right sometimes,
anyway,
but you're always
fighting
off
for the very first time in the beautiful city of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the new hotbed for boxing. What a beautiful venue. I can't wait for Canelo.
Let's catch a flight right now.
Right now?
Let's catch a flight right now. Matter of fact, we got about 15 seconds to leave. We catch a flight.
We need Turkey to help us out. We need a super jet.
Okay.
Look, you don't want to miss it, man. Thanks for joining the Cinco de Mayo show presented by Corona premiere. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, Saturday, May 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern, Canelo versus Scull. The King stakes his legacy once more for the undisputed crown. Standing in his way is Warrior Scull, undefeated and poised to decimate the division. On a knockout weekend of boxing. Get Canelo versus Scull, Saturday, May 3rd. Live exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.